All right, I'm Pat.
Oh, I'm Jeffrey. Oh, you're going.
I hit the button.
Oh, what's the number on this?
285.
285. Okay.
Acting the fool.
I got to get on the ball here. All right.
Oh, you're fine.
No, please go ahead.
Nothing, man. You were telling a story about your dog. So,
Well, I mean, like I said, she has the wherewithal to not do these things while I'm present.
right.
So, the fact that she actually does these things when I go, again, I respect that. It's I don't know what version of parenting that is. I mean, it's something where, she's aware this is a behavior I don't condone, but she's also smart enough to say, like, well, he's not in charge now, is he?
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I don't see him right now.
Right.
And then acting the fool.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I don't know how to further that conversation of well, honey, these rules still exist whether I'm present or not.
Right.
I don't know how to
Unless
convey
you
this.
post a sign or something.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah. So, these premises monitored by video.
Exactly. Yeah.
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 Yeah. I don't think so, man.
All right. Fair enough.
Yeah. I don't think
Another
there's anything you can do about that. So,
weird quirk of owning a dog, man.
yeah, other
You
than the
know.
fact that she didn't spill it everywhere, that's pretty impressive.
Again, made me super happy. It's like I don't want this shit on my carpet.
Uh-oh.
Again, it's the same thing. I don't know if she has little dog thumbs. It's the same thing. They got the peanut butter open and did not get that all over fucking everything. It taught me that lesson. It's like, no, that's not for the counter. That's up for something a little bit higher or behind a
That needs
closed
to go
door.
behind a closed door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have seen families, Patrick, that keep peanut butter in the fridge.
Yeah. My father-in-law used to do that.
It doesn't come out of the container well when you do that.
No, but he liked cold peanut butter sandwiches. So that was his thing. He had the crunchy Skippy. And so it was like,
You have to chisel it out.
well, not really, but I mean, so like he liked it that way because he would take one to work. And so it
Okay.
would sit in his lunchbox all day. So, and by the time it was lunchtime, it was like room temp.
Okay.
So otherwise, like he said, it was like, yeah, it gets greasy. So,
See,
so he's the
I
one guy
don't
that
know.
I've known, and he actually had a reason for it. So,
Of all people, he probably had one of those isolated or not isolated, insulated lunch boxes.
I don't remember. I don't think so.
I had one when I was a kid.
Yeah,
They were state of the art.
mine were all like transformer plastic. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know
So,
where my mom came across these things, but they were a thing of beauty, especially for the fucking late '80s.
my dad's like lunch bag was a fucking King Supers plastic
I was
bag
gonna say bag, straight up bag.
forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, now you can't even get those. So, um,
Oh, plastic bags.
yeah. I mean, you can, but they're like $1. So, yeah.
Well, not the shop though, not at like Safeway. They completely switched over to the worst paper bags I've seen in my
Oh,
life.
yeah. King
Um,
Super switched over to paper bags. You can still get the plastic ones though if you ask for them. So,
Not over there.
no, I don't go to Safeway, so I don't
I
know.
don't know.
Yeah.
I was told that's a no go. That those have been outlawed in our state.
I don't think they can give them away for free. They can sell them to you. So,
They used to sell them for 10 cents, but I mean they sell the paper bags for 10 cents too.
oh, I didn't know they sold those.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Any
Instacart just
bags
brings
is
it shit.
shit.
Brings my shit, and there's like an
Fucking
extra couple
stupid.
bucks of bags on there. Sometimes they get plastic ones still. So they're black. They don't say King Supers on them.
That's crazy.
Okay. All right. I don't know.
No, I'm not. I'm not denying that. I'm just like, How did we? How did we get here?
I don't know.
I,
I don't mind paper bags, man. So
I do. Well, they're hard to carry. I mean, that's the whole.
I don't carry my groceries. Yes.
Somebody does.
Well, yeah, that's true. But like when my wife hits the grocery store, she's got reusable bags that she uses.
Yeah, I bought those too.
Yeah, they just stay in the car.
Yeah. Oh, I forget them. Almost every time. It's disappointing. As a matter of fact, the last time I went was the first time I remembered in months. I have like 20 of them. Because that was the trick. I'm like, I'm just going to keep buying these until they're everywhere
That's it, right? Yeah.
in my home.
It's like Kleenex boxes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so I don't know how we came to that. I don't know why we're one of those states that got on board with that policy.
I don't remember. There was a reason for it, and I think it had to do with like
Plastic reduction,
something like that. But a lot of it had to do that like the waterways. There were like tons of them in there, and they break down in the water. So something like that.
Do they actually break down in the water?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
well.
You leave a plastic bag out in your backyard for a year, it'll decompose. So the plastic bags do not last forever. So now if you throw out a piece of Tupperware, that thing's going to be in there for millennia.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, but
This is not plastic bags are not part of the island of garbage.
no, the Great Pacific Garbage Patch.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
which apparently doesn't really exist anymore. I don't know.
I've heard as of just a couple of weeks ago that it does.
Okay.
I've never been there. I have to take somebody's word for it.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Well, there's some kid who invented this machine that's been out there chewing it up. So
good.
yeah, for like a couple of years now.
Good. That's fantastic.
Yeah, I don't know if it's still there or not. So, but whatever. It had something to do with that. I can't remember. That was like 4 or 5 years ago. That was before COVID.
Yeah.
So when they passed that.
Maybe when they passed it, I don't know. They
It took
were still
a couple of years for it to punch
yeah,
in. Yeah.
yeah. I don't know. I'm gonna. It is what it is. It's the decision they made. Yeah.
Well, yeah. We made that decision. The voters did.
Votes don't matter here. The state is done for.
Right, yeah. It's just burn it down.
That's it. Well, if we're lucky enough, the Denver mayor will find himself in jail, and that's a good place to start.
I don't know. What has he done? Anything that's illegal?
Well, remember, this is the guy that's committed to going to jail before dropping the dime or letting the ICE guys take illegal immigrants from this state.
Yeah, we'll see how that from the state. From his town.
Well, it's got to be his city, honestly, not.
Yeah, I mean, nobody here in this town's gonna have a problem with that.
No.
So
No. As a matter of fact, we'll round him up for you, buddy. It's fine.
yeah, I don't even know how many we have here in Colorado, so I have no idea.
Not a clue. My understanding is that the majority of that is in Denver. At least that's how it's been presented. But
Well, that's where the jobs are, so that makes sense.
I guess.
Well, yeah, I mean, you got to make money, so
In theory, yeah.
yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't.
I mean, this city doesn't dish out free hotel rooms, so yeah, that one down there doesn't either. Most of those up in Denver don't. In fact, Denver's trying to like, we need a hotel for 300 for 6 months. Book it in Aurora. They're like, oh, you got plenty of hotels in Denver, buddy. Use your own.
Hey, man, that shit is it's turning around. It's turning around for a reason. I mean, you've seen this past week, New York is sort of trying to backpedal on that too. So,
Whatever happened to their mayor?
oh, Adams?
Yeah. He was in trouble for a while.
He was.
And I kind of forgot about that.
I'm not entirely sure, man.
Okay.
The last thing that I saw was about 2 days before the election, he started cozying up to Trump. And,
Adams did?
Yeah.
Well, they were gunning for him. So.
But he wasn't.
No,
Trump
his people were.
Yeah, his people were.
Yeah.
So he was kind of like cozying up to Trump a little bit. My guess was, my joke at the time was like, "Hello, fellow New Yorker. I'm I live here too, buddy. Maybe."
Trump doesn't live there no more. He lives in Florida.
Yeah, that's true.
He's not leaving either.
As do all New Yorkers, right?
Right.
So once you hit a certain age,
yeah, you hit the
Florida.
big 80, and
Yeah.
you're now a Florida resident.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like, oh yeah, they're cold. It's just my bones can't take it anymore.
I get it. I mean, it's what? Actually, you have a lot of family, like Michigan and stuff like this, where you have that humid cold. New York would be the same way.
Yeah, New York gets it worse.
They're right next to that ocean, yeah.
Well, no, it's like, I don't know. You get a little bit of it in Michigan, but it's worse over by like Pennsylvania and stuff. So
I thought coming off the lakes, it was cold as shit too.
it's like Lake Erie's the bad one.
Oh,
Stuff
okay,
for that,
okay,
yeah.
all right.
So because it's long, so Lake Michigan's not that wide. I mean, it is, but
Is it? They're huge.
they are pretty big. I mean, but yeah, I just flew over it last year. It's only like 15-20 minutes of flying. So
How long does it take to fly over an individual state?
depends on the state.
Wyoming,
Maybe an hour and a half.
Delaware.
You're over it. Yeah.
Texas.
More than Wyoming. Yeah. Yeah, I drove Texas once. Went all the way out to El Paso. That is far from Dallas. It is fucking far. So,
Oh my god. How
Yeah.
many miles is that?
I don't even remember, but that one was a day. And then it was a day from El Paso to here.
How many gas stations do you have to stop at from Dallas to El Paso?
I have no idea.
At least one?
Oh, many. Yeah, many. So, Texas is big.
It's enormous.
Yeah.
It's both length and height. It's incredibly huge.
Yeah. California's pretty big too, man.
Yeah, I did some researching on that recently.
On California.
Yeah,
Yeah.
business stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't for funsies.
Nothing I do is for funsies lately.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's No, that's not true because I was playing that stupid collectible card game.
Oh, where you run the card shop?
Yeah.
I think I saw that
Yeah.
one on not on Twitch, but on YouTube. Yeah. So
It scratched enough of the itch for me. I've had this thing lately. I want to like buy a box of something and open it, but there's nothing that I actually want to collect, and that really goes against my nature of buying crap.
right.
So duplicating that process in my head a little bit it got the job done.
Oh yeah, the game? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
That's enough. That's enough.
You're good now.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, there will come a point where, yes, I do expect that my brother and I will sit down with a box of something and just open cards
Right.
at some point. I don't know which birthday that will be, and I will leave them all with him. I will not retain said product. I don't. We discussed this. This is the same fool that was like, I'd rather have the comic book than the $1.5 million
Yes.
that comes from said comic book. I mean, you could sell the good one and buy a reprint. There's any number of ways.
Yeah, I mean, I understand why he says that though. I don't agree with him, but I get where he's coming from. You have the one, out of all the people that you're the guy who has that. So there you go. So that is a thing.
It is a thing, but I mean, what appreciation do you have for any kind of rare item except for looking at it a little bit and then putting it away?
I don't know. I personally don't.
I mean, is there anything that you'd
You'd have to ask
care
him.
to own?
Man.
No, that you would care to own so much that it's like, hey, this is a unique piece. I own it. I'm just gonna.
Well, sure, but not if it was $1 million. I mean, I'd rather have my mortgage paid off, thank you. So, yeah, but like, if there was like a $5 bill that had like, it was worth like $8, and it was the very first one that was ever printed.
Absolutely.
Okay, fine,
Okay, yeah.
got it. All right,
For
but this-
$8, you put it in a frame. And,
whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But $1 million like comic, no way, man. So I got priorities.
I'm trying to think of like other things that would be like mysteriously worth a lot. Those would be like those, like those Honus Wagner cards, or
Oh, that's worth millions. So
like those pennies.
what, the steel ones?
I'm trying to remember. Yeah,
They're not worth
there's a
anything.
couple of
I've
like,
got a couple of them.
no, there's a
So-
couple of like rare pennies that are
Sure.
like, I don't remember if they're mistakes or not, but
There's all kinds of them.
Yeah.
There's mistakes, there's one-off runs, there's ones where, like they had like off years and things like that, that didn't go into circulation. So you can find some of those, here and there. But I mean, like, even coins, I mean, unless you're connecting like Roman coins, they're not that valuable. I mean, they're not like $1 million, comic book valuable. So there are some that are, but they're old,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, these were like supposedly what were these like? Were these the pure copper pennies
I couldn't tell
that
you.
they only made like 7 of or something like that? I don't remember. It's
Yeah, and see, and that's the thing is you can take a picture of a coin now and just put it in a chat GPT. It'll tell you exactly what it is.
right.
So
right.
yeah, it's like, okay. I mean, there's like some silver dollars that are worth a couple $1,000s, so because they're made out of pure silver, or they're rare runs, or they were printed during a war, or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
So there's a few of those out there, but I mean, okay, so if I had one of those and I had the only one, great. All right. So, I mean, that's a car payment. Cool. So,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
But, if it's like, no, that actually pays off my house, puts my daughter through college. Yeah, I'm fucking selling
Yeah,
that.
so yeah.
Because I'm not that rich.
Right.
So, yeah.
Somebody else will enjoy this more than I will.
Absolutely. I will take their
I
money.
would enjoy the money more. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and this is not including those one-off things where you find. What was the old story? It was a person. They found a copy of the Declaration of Independence.
Yeah,
in a
behind the painting.
Yeah,
it was real.
yeah.
Yeah. So,
There's no
like
accounting
$1
for that.
million
Right.
for it.
It's a fair price.
I could get sure. So, I mean, great. If you got it, take it. So, but still at the same point in time, I mean, like that doesn't substitute like getting a job, saving 50% of your income,
it's not.
So this white man's lottery kind of thing.
No,
The
this is
junk
right.
lottery
Yeah.
is just, I mean, that's what it is. It's like, I won't have to do all that work, will I? If only I had a copy of the Constitution.
It's got you fucking tearing all your paintings apart in the house. It's like,
I know,
dude, these came from Target. You did nothing.
The chances less than zero. This is actively costing you money.
Yo, man. Yeah, over there, like knifey over every couch you can find. It's like, no, man, this is not how this works. Actually, I mean, because that is another story that I read recently about a family that found it was a ton of money inside a couch.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
like war bonds or something.
it was cash.
Oh,
it was
weird.
cash. I mean, it's clearly illegal money from some
Right? Yeah.
because
Yeah.
you don't hide real, like, legit money in furniture. You put it in the bank.
Yeah. Although I don't know. It might be one of them prepper dudes. So you never know. I mean, we've all known like an old grandma or someone who would actually like Oh, I remember when the banks went belly up, and so I take $2, I put one in the couch and one in the bank, that kind of thing. You know,
Bro, I remember a story. This happened like 20 years ago, maybe even longer. Was a guy that Charlie worked with. He he loaned him some money, and the guy, eventually like moved out of state. But he was good. He was an honest dude. He says like, look, I'm not just because I'm moving doesn't mean I'm not gonna take care of you, right?
right?
And sure as shit, this is one of those guys that you talked about, and
Give me almost a shoebox full of money.
$10,000 in cash
Yeah.
through the mail,
Yeah,
and he's like, don't ever.
idiot.
And he's one of those people. It's like I don't use banks or anything like that. I'm like, you're not gonna do this again.
No, yeah, yeah.
You're absolutely bonkers. But I mean, that's you get tilted one way or another. There's some story. There's some story about the bank did you wrong.
Sure.
There's people who go out there and say like oh, I don't trust banks. Like, yes, you do. It's just you don't like that the bank garnished your wages or let them
Right,
garnish your
yeah,
wages
yeah.
for
The
child
IRS
support.
is able to
Yeah,
actually like tap in your bank account directly.
right.
So, stop trying to beat the system, dude. So pay your fucking child support.
Or whatever it is, because
Or whatever it is.
there's only two agencies to my knowledge that can garnish your wages. And that's the IRS,
Oh, the IRS?
and child support.
Well, that's not really an agency. And,
Well,
yeah, and that's not as automatic as you think.
I don't
So,
think so. Well,
no. So, like the IRS, they will find you. So,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, eventually you'll have to pop up on the radar
Yes.
somewhere, and they'll be like, "Oh, hello, Jeffrey. We've been waiting.
What can I do for you?
Yeah, but then, like child support, because I remember my wife had to fight for this a couple times. So, and you can, so like, you can go to an employer with a court order and saying you need to garnish these wages, and the employer will be like, okay, all right, and they'll do it. But then the way to get around that is just to quit your job and go get a different one. And make them go through the whole fucking process all over again. So,
Yeah, but I do know that if you are the bank and they present an order, the bank can't deny
the
it.
bank can't not deny
No,
that. No,
no.
you are correct.
That's plain and simple. I had that concern many times come up when I worked at the bank. It's like, what is this? It's like, how come you let them? It's like, guys, it's not a question
Oh,
of
yeah.
let.
I did the same thing when I was a broker.
Yeah.
So they're like, well, wait a minute. Why do you have to pull out the taxes? It was like, because you already owe a lot of taxes and the IRS just told us to do that. What do you mean? You're not allowed to do that. I was like, yeah, take it up with them, buddy.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, pal. It's like, I think you forget who outranks who, and they say that they can do it. And if you have any questions for them, they told me to give you this number. Do
Right,
you want
yeah.
to call them?
You want to call them?
Yes. Do you want to call them and let them know why you have?
Yeah, exactly. So,
Yeah, I feel bad for folks in that situation, but then again, it sucks, and it's just a rotten situation to be in. I don't think anybody tries to. I don't know if they. I can't think of too many people that would just straight up. It's like, yeah, I got the money for child support, but I don't believe in it, so I'm not going to pay it.
no, it usually has something to do with like animosity towards your ex or something.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I mean, that's like
but,
punching down on your kid, though, man. That's kind
But
of.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like child support, that's where I'm saying like that one usually seems more like I'm broke,
Yeah.
or something like that versus like yeah, that shit's kind of whacked.
I've seen people fight alimony in the past, so that one's a lot harder to enforce. So
That's a tough one.
you just keep suing. If you don't get it, you just keep suing.
Yeah.
So that's how it works.
I think that shit is overdue for reform.
Maybe. So
I would think so. I think
I don't really know that much about it. So to tell you the truth.
Well, so I haven't personally experienced it, but I mean, I've worked with a lot of guys who are paying it.
I've worked with a couple here and there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, it's been a while. I gotta be honest with you. It's been a while. So they don't just like pass out like candy like they used to. I know that. So
No, not, again, I can't say for sure. And again, these were all like, I'm guessing you probably knew more guys like in the railroad, just like I did on the rig, that were prone to this shit.
well, they were prone to it because all their
Yeah.
wives were stay-at-home wives.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and so if you're a stay-at-home mom for 15 years, you know, you raise two kids and your husband goes and cheats on you. Yeah, I mean, they'll be like, "Oh, okay, so you have no skills, you have no schooling, you have nothing, you know, kind of thing because you're raising these kids." Okay. So,
Yeah, but how does that go into like a lot of places they've gone to basically like no fault. Uh,
I don't know anything about that.
yeah.
I know somebody does, but I've never asked her that. So if my wife ever wanted to divorce me, I'd just roll over.
Oh, right.
So yeah, please. So, like, what do you want? Just hamburgers. Just hamburgers with onions.
Yeah, I got you, bro. It's a tough spot. No, I don't know. I think that's something that needs to be. You know, I was wondering about it because I mean, there's a pretty significant talk about sort of like revitalizing. It all stems from that kind of low birth rate sort of thing. They're like, how do they revitalize? It's they say a lot of this has to do with like masculinity has been under attack. How do we like
Maybe.
you know? Well, I mean, there's a number of things that I could point to and say like this looks like a symptom, not the cure. I don't think there's anybody out
Yeah,
there
I
that
agree.
just points to this and says like
Yeah.
alimony is the only reason I'm not pursuing a family. I think. I mean, my argument would be that you know, this is kind of what happens when you sort of single out one gender for 25 years and make them look like buffoons. But
Yeah, but it's also
it is
just
what
like
it
the
is.
country's getting older, man. I mean, you just take a look at the demographics, and there's no reverse in that, man. There's not a single time in history where someone's been able to reverse that trend. So, you know, it's constant, not a variable. So, you know, because people live a hell of a lot longer than they used to.
Right,
So the child infant mortality is basically nothing.
right.
So, you know, I mean, it's like the norm now where if you see someone who dies and they're under the age of like 60, people say like, "Oh, he died
So
young."
way too young. Yeah.
Yeah, way too young. So,
You start looking for. You don't just accept it at face value.
no, was this a suicide? Did he
Right.
drink himself to death? Was
Yeah.
he shot? You know, it's got to be something like that. You know, it's not just like, "Oh, okay, well, you know, he had a good run," you know, kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
I think at the. I think it's right at around like 75 that you start saying it's like, oh, they made it.
Yeah, I
You know?
mean, yeah. Die in your sleep kind of thing. Yeah,
Exactly, yeah.
exactly. So, I mean, that's just part of it. And I mean, the other part of it is I mean, you know, it comes from, you know, the 1960s and second wave feminism and, you know, people like, okay, yeah, go. You know, you don't have to sit at home. So
Right.
go get a job.
Right.
And I mean, there's been a lot of societies in the past where women were like heavily involved in the workforce. They don't grow after a while, you know, they just don't. So, and there's no, this is a one-way street. There is no going back. So, or if there is, we'd be the first. So there you go. So, you know,
That's a good point. I mean,
so what does that look like? I don't know. You know, I mean, like, I mean, a lot of it is not necessarily like, oh, okay, well, we need to rearrange the furniture. It's just like, all right, well, what are we going to do with guys? I mean, there's a great book out there that I read. It's called Of Boys and Men, basically about male crises right now. So, and it's all like, guys, there's tons of jobs out there, but you can't be the breadwinner anymore. I mean, you can't compete with your lawyer wife if you're wrenching on trucks. So just be cool with that, you know, wrench on trucks. If it's what you want to do, go do it, you know.
well, that's just say. Well, this is the sort of the conundrum with that here too is that, um, while it's absolutely true that more women are going into college, and that's
It's been true since the 1980s, Jeff.
yeah, this is something that's remained
not
true
new.
for a while. One of the things is that they are they tend to go into more fields that do not pay as much as men's degrees.
There are exceptions to that. Like
There are.
medicine and law would be your two big. There are more female
Right.
doctors and more female lawyers than there are male lawyers. And
Yes,
doctors now.
yes,
So,
yes.
and that was the one. Oh, you're married to a rich doctor or a lawyer. And so,
Right.
you know, and so, yeah, but and like even nursing is bananas how much they get paid compared to
Oh,
like,
yeah.
oh, dude, it's crazy. And so, you know, I mean, it's good, but like when I was teaching a nursing program, you know, my students were making 6 times as much as I was.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
so it was bananas. But yeah, then there's like a lot of other things that it'll just, you know, like it'll change, you know, because like a lot of these knowledge level jobs, you know, I mean, they're not going to pay. Teaching's never going to pay. It's never going to pay in this country. It
That's
can't.
weird.
Well, it can't. All right, there's too many people who are willing to be like, oh, you don't need to be rich as long as I work with kids. And so there you go. So, you know, and there will always be more of those people than there will be people who say, oh, you know what, we're not doing this fucking job unless you pay us double. So, you know, and it's just never going to work. And so, yeah, and I mean, if you go into any elementary school out there, there's one dude teacher and 99 female teachers. Yeah, every single time.
And I think you have to have the one because, well, somebody's got to break up fights.
Well, yeah, yeah, he's usually gay. So, you know, I mean, so.
Yeah, but he's bigger and he's a guy.
Sure, but I mean, the kids don't even fight anymore. I almost asked my daughter that the other day. How many fights have you seen at school? She's like, Daddy, we don't fight at school.
Yeah, it's, we live here.
I get that. So, but we grew up here. There used to be fights all the time. So it's just not true. Went to the same fucking schools. You know?
We did.
Yeah.
We did. And no, I understand that, but I also understand that the different districts you go to will have different expectations.
They
for
do.
that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, some of them are like on lockdown.
Yeah.
So yeah. I mean, D11's not that bad yet. So Williams District is on lockdown. So, you know.
Oh, in terms of
Shenanigans will not be tolerated.
right. There's no boys will be boys clause.
There's
in the,
no such thing. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no such thing. So, yeah, so, you know, but, and I mean, some of that's true. I mean, when I taught education courses, it was 99% female. So, you know,
But
business.
that doesn't pay. I mean, that's
No, it doesn't pay. And almost everybody in those courses has some other means of support. They have rich parents. You know,
rich spouse.
Well, no, it's
some kind of
sometimes rich, but you know, sometimes it's just stable. So they'll be like married to somebody in the military.
money. Yeah.
Something like that, or you know, oh, my husband's an engineer with Lockheed, whatever.
Yes.
You know, something. You know,
But somebody that compensatorily will handle.
you'll be fine.
Yes.
You'll be fine.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, but then like all of your other like social work is another one. And social work, I've seen so many people go into it over the years. Probably about 95% female, but not all of them.
Right.
Okay, so there are some guys out there who go into psychology and want to become counselors. Especially if they've had run-ins with either the law or addiction. So,
Right.
you know, that's a path for them that can open doors, but that one doesn't pay. So, you know, and so there you go.
But that being said, more it is what it is. But anything like mathematically related is going to heavily favor the males.
It does. Yeah.
It just does.
It does, but you know, like the thing about it is that math is such a despised topic amongst men and women. You know, like
In general, or
In
among
general.
the people that like it.
no, the people who like it, they're fine, and they'll
right.
do fine. I'm just saying, if you have 100 people, that's like 6. Okay, people who are willing to go out there and say, no, you know what I want to do for the rest of my life? Math.
Oh yeah.
It's fucking rare. Okay, so it doesn't matter if like 5 out of those 6 are guys. Okay, because it's just 6 people out of 100 who are actually going to be doing the math.
Right.
You know, so like it's
Yeah, my father was one of them.
yeah, exactly. Engineers, you know, they're like statisticians. Although you know, I know a little bit more about that, and there's probably just as many female statisticians as there are male ones. Well, at least in my experience, but it's somewhat limited. You know, but engineering for sure. hard sciences like chemistry and stuff, sure. So, pharmacology is a little bit, more on, it's like more the medical side, so you get a decent mix.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But, I mean, quite honestly, I don't even think we should really worry about gender divides on it. So, we want people who are good at it. So, if you self-select into it, that's fine. If that's what you want to do, go be good at it.
Well, I don't think anybody was arguing on behalf of.
Well, sure they were for the last 20 years. Come on, man.
But to
30
divide
years.
them?
No, but, like, hey, we need to get more women in this field. Or, we need more men in this field.
I don't look.
Personally, I do think that we need more male teachers. So,
I absolutely agree.
Yeah.
But that being said, that's not something that they push for.
They try, but most of the guys they have like they'll get dudes who are coming out of the military. So trust me, anybody who's coming out of the military has been like at least captain or above.
Yeah,
he's going to spend about 5 minutes in a school before he's going to start thinking about burning it down. So
right. Yeah. No, I do understand that. And look, there's a different. You could take a different perspective, and yes, you could. I mean, this would be completely hypothetical. You'd say you could totally change this thing around and say, like, all right, so we're going to do this based on salary. And yes, we could find a way to pay for it. But that's just, like you said, it's the first thing you would look at is, well, why do that when we have this pool here, right?
What? Pay for what?
Well, so if you decided to, like, let's say right here, if you started to start every teacher in district level, if you said, like, starting pay is like $90,000, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right. You would get a completely different field of
sure.
applicants.
Yeah, you get much better ones. So,
you would.
Yeah.
And, it is something that you could pay for, right? It would be something like, where do you get it from? But, I mean, it's like...
I tell you exactly how you do it. So, tear down the walls between classrooms and teach 150-person classes.
You could do that.
I do that for a fucking living. It's fine. So,
Yeah, but
it's fine, bro.
That said, I know that they have different rules about, how many students per classroom and stuff like that. But
but they're all arbitrary. You could change those just as easy as you could go out and ask like people for more money. I mean, so like in a district, 90% of its outflows are already in salaries. So
actually, and I did see a pretty interesting graph on this where they showed the percentage, well, not the percentage, but basically that administration outnumbers teaching staff now.
Yeah, it depends on the school district, but yeah, some of them.
Well, this was an overall. This was So it was, and they showed basically per year. There were certain things where they were like, all right, I know what this is. Mm-hmm. I know what this part is. I know that this part isn't, because they included 3 groups, was basically teachers and then administration and then like additional staff.
Yeah.
Like, well, I know what that is. Those are paraprofessionals.
Well, that, and it's your kitchen guys and it's your...
Yeah, kitchen guys. That's minimal stuff because most places
they contract.
It's all contracted. Yeah. You're not going to have like a big staff on this stuff.
But it's your custodians. It's your security guards. Every school's got 2 or 3 security guards in it now.
Even still, that would be nothing compared to the 40 teachers you have on staff, right?
Well, I get that, but I guarantee those people get paid more than the teachers.
There's that. Don't let me take away from that. But I mean, when they were going just by sheer numbers, and basically, there was a long time where teachers just completely outpaced administration. Administration has gone on top.
Oh, it's even worse in college, man. It's terrible. So
I don't know.
Everything is like, we got to figure out how to get more Title IV and Title IX funding and blah, blah, blah all the time. So we got people who run grant offices just to try and find themselves more money.
Right.
So, some of the schools are better about this than others, but, we're not very good on counseling. We have a few counselors, but when I was teaching at that school over here, they had an army of them. I mean, if you stressed out during finals week, you get like 6 fucking phone calls from different people.
Jesus.
I know, man. Armies of them, and the same thing's true with like some of the admin and support that we see, just with individual, what you would think would be cross-functional jobs, are basically like hoarded by individual departments. Like every department tries to get its own IT guys, and stuff.
Okay, right,
And things like that. And that's
right,
stupid. You should
right.
have a central IT office and you send them out as you need them. But no, it takes them forever to clear out tickets and blah, blah, blah. So it's much better if we just have our own in-house guy. He's sitting over there fucking, twiddling his thumbs 90% of his time. So and you the guys are the ones who are complaining about not getting raises.
Yeah, no, I gotcha. So, I mean, when I look at it, I could theoretically hammer out something where it's like, all right, so we pay the teachers more on this. And it would have positive outcomes. And yes, you could, pay for this stuff. But I mean, it's also, you wouldn't change it because, the existing model as is, like, we actually have a talent pool already that we're going to pull from, and there's not a shortage. So,
well, there is in certain fields, for sure.
well, definitely. But I mean, just in terms of like, you can look at the shortage in the certain fields and get them to adjust themselves to those fields rather than.
Yeah, you would hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I remember that was a big bone of contention with the CSA, was like pay differentials between different types of teachers.
Oh yeah.
That was a non-starter. But if you go around and you look at a lot of the charter schools around here, their math teachers make twice as much as their English teachers. So, and they do fine.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah. So yeah, unless they fix that problem, then I don't see too many people volunteering to come into college and learn more math. So like college algebra is like the hands down the most hated class. So out there, it totally is, man.
I can buy it.
So yeah.
I mean, that said, I've seen people mention organic chemistry by name
I hate
more
that.
often.
Yeah. That's the one that almost did me in. Yeah.
What were you doing taking that?
I needed it for geology. Well, actually, mine was inorganic chemistry, so I needed it for geology.
Okay.
Too. Yeah. I never got geology too, so because I
Okay.
couldn't pass inorganic chemistry.
Okay. All right.
And thus, I only have 1 degree. Otherwise, I would have had 2. So
That'd be an interesting one to have.
I don't.
Geology?
Yeah, no, it's geography specifically,
Oh.
but you had to take geology too in order to get that degree.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. So then I would have had 2 worthless degrees.
We're the exception, man. When it comes to like boy degrees, we did not.
No, I absolutely fucked up. Although I got to be blunt with you, man. Like, history is weird because it attracts a lot of I like Panther tank guys. So
It sure does.
It sure does,
It
man.
sure does.
And you know what? I've actually seen a couple of them make it all the way to the college level. I was like, oh my god, I could list off your 3 least favorite scenarios in Panzer General, and I'd probably get them all right. And here you are professoring.
I would argue those guys probably have 3 at a bump spot where.
Yeah.
You could.
You got to flex.
Yeah. Well, okay. Look, I mean, these are the same people that, God bless them. I mean, they are the people that you can say something. It's like, you can say this year. It's like, and they'll stop. They'll give you the funny look, and they'll say like, but Charlemagne wasn't there that year.
Exactly,
Charlemagne was sick between the months.
Right. Yes.
And I get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I will say this too. Generally speaking, guys tend to have a certain type of history they tend to like more than others. And oftentimes, yes, it does involve those tanks that you're talking about.
It's tanks or some kind of
crossbows
geopolitics or
yeah.
involves warships or
A lot of guys know about the Crusades.
Yeah, that one's a little bit different though, man. So, because for many, many years, the Crusades was it wasn't a taboo topic. It was just kind of like, well, they all lost kind of thing. Yeah. So,
Patrick,
it was just seen as
no. If you just say they all lost, you're going to get a hand raised right there and say well, I don't think they all lost.
They were there for 80 years before Saladin kicked them out.
and we're not talking about losing into there were many gains that happened as a result of the Crusades, not just the victories themselves.
Yeah.
Right.
No, there weren't. The Ottomans ruled for 1,000 years after you guys left.
They did. They don't now.
No. No. Well, because there's a 30-year gap between when they go down and Israel is formed. So,
Right.
ta-da. You could call it the Sixth Crusade if you really wanted to.
You could, but it's not. Was it
Different religion,
Christian-led?
yeah.
I mean,
No, different religion.
sort of.
Yeah.
It's
Remember when the Christians went to the Holy Land and found Jews in it? They killed them too. So,
and along the way, I mean, it wasn't just
there's reports of such things happening.
right. But they're just reports.
Right.
I think it happened.
I'm positive it happened.
Again, this is one of those. Yes, you have to gloss right over this when you're saying yes, but these are the positive effects of the Crusades, etc., etc. But yes, there people do tend to zone in on certain aspects, and yes, that is swords and shields is one of them. Crossbows,
Right? Yeah, armor. Yeah,
samurai swords.
that one comes up. Kamikazes. Yeah, the Divine Wind Hurricane.
Right.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's Spanish Armada stuff. Some people are very big into naval history.
They're out there. Fortunately, there's just not as much of it. So
No, but I think that those people that like the history of boats, especially like warships, they love it.
I can attest to
I
that.
think you fought with
Totally.
right.
Jeff, most of my models are ships. Yeah. I've made a tank and a few planes, but the rest are all ships.
Right.
Yeah.
Now I don't know how far back you go with the individual history of like, oh well, this is going to go back to the turtle ships of the Koreans and blah,
Oh
blah, blah.
Lord, no, man.
Okay.
So like even sailing ships, I think, are a waste of time. So
See, there's a history of that too.
there is a big history of that. I wrote my senior thesis on it. So,
there
but
you
I'm
go.
good,
All right.
man. I'm good.
All right.
Yeah, I got it out of my system.
I mean, if you like it, you like it. I just find that there are dudes like I feel like there's probably a lot of interesting parts of history that guys just don't really.
Yeah.
They just don't. They just
Good luck
pass
finding
right over
a
it.
guy who's interested in literary history. Good fucking luck. You might find one or two. So
I'm barely interested in it, and
it's your degree.
it's my
yeah,
thing.
it's
Yeah.
your thing. Yeah. So there you go.
I
You
mean-
have a tough time with that one.
well, it's the other thing is it's pretty well mapped. I mean, this is the thing is all right. This is Patrick, as a historian, or at least someone that has history in your background, right? Do you not find a certain lack of interest in combing through territory that's been documented and mapped so well?
Well, no, actually, I think people should do that more often. So,
Okay.
because, like how we think, see, this is the problem with history as a field is they'll go out there and if someone wants to study like Elizabethan England,
Right.
okay, they're going to have to find some extremely esoteric, rare,
Right.
fucking identity politic kind of thing,
Yes.
to write on when what you should write on is Queen Elizabeth, So,
Right.
but everybody's like, oh no, all that ground has been broken. No, but I mean, like, up until maybe just about 40 years ago, that's what everybody did in history. And that's why you got new iterations of the same old thing, new thinking on old ideas over time. We've got like a 30, 40-year gap in history right now where it's just fucking trash. Okay? Because it's all this like really esoteric, weird stuff
Well,
that
yeah,
doesn't
it's-
really color in the bigger picture for anybody. It just helped you get tenure. So, you know, and the
Right.
whole field has kind of gone that way, and it's really resistant to any kind of change. So it will change. I mean, this isn't the first time that's happened. I mean, fucking colleges were overrun with phrenology departments, for a little while.
Yeah, there's
You
going to be
know.
some stuff that history will not be too kind on.
Well, and there's going to be a lot of historians in 15, 20 years that are not going to be too kind on the last 40, 50 years of history. So it's coming, man. Because there's a lot of gaps in that knowledge there now, where it's like, oh, well, like, yeah, I can teach about the women of 1800s France,
Right,
but can you teach, Western Civ and actually go through Western Europe from, I don't know, like Frederick the Great to Hitler? No. It's like, because
I'm aware of them.
I'm aware of these things. Yeah. So, but it's a very tiny little, and I mean, that's a problem with a lot of academia now. So even the shit that I do is extremely specialized and useless in many ways. So, and publish articles that 5 fucking people read. So,
Yeah, there's that. I mean,
but they're peer reviewed, so I
Right.
can put them on my CV. Say, hey, look what I did.
right?
Yeah.
I get it. I mean, but you wouldn't look at this and say that there's no merit to your work. I mean, that's ridiculous.
No, but I mean, like the academic side, nah. I mean, I'll definitely, it informs what I teach, so to a certain point. But I mean, the teaching is the much more important piece, at least to me. You know,
I don't think I can't picture any aspect of academia that I would go into and say, like, I would want to research this further for the purpose of doing this for the sake of a college or something like that. There's nothing within that field where I would find that interesting enough or valuable enough to, like I said, cover that ground. Because at least in literature, the literature is the literature.
right.
I mean, that's the thing is like, I suppose there are, in rare instances, you can look at someone's writings and say, like, this was found or this was, discovered. And it's like, okay, yeah, but the person that discovered it, they worked over it as soon as they found it. They sent it to the person that did. I'm like, there's not that much, like, interpretive stuff that you can get into something that's, fiction or nonfiction.
Sure, yeah.
It's like you can look at this and say, like, oh, well, we didn't know that this person was part of, they were silently part of the communist movement back then. It's like,
Right.
this informs their interpretation. I'm like, but fucking, like, somebody would have done that a long time ago in terms of, they would have done that regardless of whether they saw that, because somebody would have written that paper. They said, I see seeds of this. I'm like, okay, good. Can you prove anything?
Well,
Okay,
usually
yeah.
not, but like if it opens up a door, and other people start to like pursue that and develop it down the road. I mean, like that's the problem with a lot of history and lit in particular,
Yeah.
because you do kind of have to let it stew for a while,
Yes.
So you got to get away from the issues, and this is why, like, okay, any historians listening to the podcast, you officially have my permission to write about the Vietnam War now.
Oh.
Anything after 1975, hands off, fucker.
Okay. All right. After 1970.
After 1975, up to 1975, where they pushed the helicopter off the back of the ship, you're good. So
Okay. All right.
the day after that, hands off. Not your business.
All right. I think that's fair. Because that's what that's the.
It's almost
50
50 years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
it's almost 50
Right.
years. So we got like 8 more months. So I'm gonna go ahead and call it now. So it's okay.
Okay. So it's almost like know your role. So if it's in the past 50 years, that's journalism. If it's
Journalisterism. Yeah.
right. I mean, we have seen. Oh my goodness. The tantrums.
Jeff, I actually got on the Twitter last night. I had to throw some punches at some dudes. So just because of the absolute, I don't even know, like, there's got to be a great literature. You're a good writer. And so there's got to be a term for, like, it's not like Ben Shapiro's liberal tears kind of thing. Okay. But like a really good term for just, absolute wailing.
That's what it is.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
so
much to the point where you have.
It's funny.
Well, it is funny. I mean, this is. All right. Which part are you laughing at the most? What is there's several components of this that I find absolutely fascinating in this point of history.
So I was having too much fun playing New Vegas the last couple of days, so I've been a little unplugged. All right, but when I did surface yesterday,
Yeah.
so in between watching college football games and fucking with you on Telegram, there was just like this thing that like there's this couple streams of almost like consciousness journalism going on there, like heading towards the next biggest constitutional crisis since Watergate. Rah!
Right.
And it was like, why?
Exactly. Yes.
What are you talking about? Oh, you're Watergate, blah blah blah. It's like, who the fuck cares about Watergate? Okay, so I mean, was it that big? The guy quit. So I mean,
Guys, I'm sorry. At this point, in hindsight, Watergate is a mild fart compared to.
I wrote something almost exactly like that.
Yeah. I mean,
You did. I said it was a loud fart in a quiet room.
Jesus
Now the room's
Christ,
not
I
so
mean-
quiet, so fart away.
you guys are sitting over there acting like it's 2024. And Elvis is on the Ed Sullivan Show tonight, and it's like, oh man, look at him, he's shaking his knees, right?
Oh yeah,
and you're trying to
yeah.
make this a big deal. It's like,
His hips
no,
are
man.
gyrating.
Exactly. It's like, no, man, we crossed that bridge a long time ago. We made certain decisions as a society. We said, well, we didn't kick Bill Clinton out of office for things that would have been totally inappropriate. before.
Absolutely scandalous. Yes.
Absolutely. We decided to let that slide. And since we let it slide, you keep going down that road. And it is just how it goes.
Bill
man.
Clinton proved that if you are in office and your party controls the Senate, you're not
Correct.
going nowhere.
Right.
So, and that's the whole thing. I mean, Trump would have been gonzo if the Democrats said they controlled the Senate, but they didn't. So when that shit was going on. And so, they would have had him packed up his shit that afternoon. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So, this whole idea that we're heading towards some new constitutional crisis based upon like who may or may not get pardoned or who may or may not actually be in a particular office coming up here or who may get selected to go in a particular office is absolute bullshit. So, and it's just, I mean, so, and then the funny thing is if you're watching like Taibbi and Kern the other day were like, we're not using the term mainstream media anymore because it doesn't fucking exist.
Right.
So
Right.
it's like it's done. It needs to be
Right.
retired. And so, as a term. And so you have establishment media. Okay. So, or you can call it legacy media.
Yeah.
Okay. And stuff like that. And then, but the thing is like as you watch, this is like a space shuttle coming into like the atmosphere and breaking apart.
Yes.
Okay. And there are parts of it right now that are kind of like, well, actually, you know what? That's a really good pick on the part of Donald Trump. I like that guy. And then there goes a wing. Off that thing, yeah. So, or the same thing. He's like, you know what? He's actually been really quiet and effective lately. Getting Trudeau to come down and knock on his door was really clever.
How dare you?
How dare you?
Yeah, it's weird. So all right. So the pressing issue before we convened was the pardoning of Hunter Biden.
Did he actually do that yet?
Yes.
Oh, he did.
He just said about 3 hours ago.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
And again, this is when it comes down to like legacy media versus regular media, right? So you can look at most places that have, looked at this and said, well, here's all the times he said he wouldn't do this, right?
Yeah.
Politico's article is, and I shit you not,
They are useless, Jeff.
what do you think Politico's article was?
Oh, yeah. Like, I have no idea, but it was definitely in support of this. So
The headline was, Republicans pounce on...
There we go.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
So, yeah.
So,
it is definitely be blaming the other side. Is like, oh, well, that guy's a drug addict and he needs compassion and kindness, blah, blah, blah. Okay, fine. Personally, I don't give a fuck if he gets part because he's yesterday's news. So...
well, the whole... All right. That's correct. He is yesterday's news. The only difference about this is basically like read my lips, no new taxes, is when you have somebody that makes a commitment, says like, I will not do this, I will not do this, will not do this, and then they do that. Now, again...
Well, yeah, but I mean, the voters held George Herbert Walker Bush responsible for that, and he lost the election.
Correct.
The Joe Biden lost the election. So,
Well, no, he didn't. He didn't play.
right. He was going to lose, man, badly. So, I mean, she lost bad enough. He would have lost like twice as hard. So, and I mean, he might not believe it, but it's true. So, and I think I said on this podcast that if he ducks out of the race, he'll pardon his son because he's going to have, well, fuck this place kind of attitude. Fine. Okay. It's in the Constitution. You could do it, bro. So you broke your word. Hey, man, we can't hold you more accountable than throwing your ass out of the office. Correct. So there we go.
Correct. And again, this is something that as a you look at it and say like, well, you are a parent. I get it.
You shouldn't hide behind that. You just say, fuck you guys. I'm the president. It says right here that I can do this. And I'm not coming back. I'm getting on a train to Delaware. You're never gonna fucking see me again.
You're never gonna see me again.
Yeah.
It's
so
like don't talk to me or my son ever again. And
stay off my lawn.
So I mean, there is that component to it. But I mean, this is what you're talking about here. Is when it comes to legacy media, you got choices, and this is where you have to make a decision of look. There's a reason that certain legacy places, including like the Washington Post, the LA Times, are now. You saw this.
I saw that Jeff Bezos get the ties back on, boys.
Get the ties back out. And they're also saying like actually our editorial rooms need to be overhauled, and we need to have more voices in here.
And you're not allowed to leave early on Fridays anymore.
Yeah, that's
so what the fuck is this? Is the ping pong table? It's not covered with copy? Yeah.
Well, because you were the one that pointed out the other day was that the atmosphere of the adult daycare. You said that's a failed experiment.
Totally
right?
failed experiment. Yeah. Oh man, I mean, if you go, you've been reading some of the Modern Business Lit out there. There's all kinds of shit out there nowadays about how, like, oh my God, everybody's got to get back in the box. And, remote work is actually really bad for productivity in a lot of industries. And it's like, yeah, anyone involving people, So, and it's just, it's interesting that like, kind of like, there's this, like, kind of clickbaity edge of Business Lit. Out there, you know exactly what I'm talking about. They moved off remote work probably about 3 to 6 months ago, and now you're seeing the academic lit catch up and looking at the actual productivity for a lot of these firms, and saying like, all we have to do is actually take a look at like, well, it's a private company, so they don't release everything, but they release enough to actually take a look at the productivity data in like Twitter. Google is the big one where they've been looking at it and they were like,
they're patient zero, right?
They might have been patient zero, but it's definitely one of those things. It's a public company, so they actually publish their 10Ks and their 10Qs, and they've been doing a lot of shedding of just fat. So there's a lot of fat in that company. So yeah. But eventually and I mean, that's why I like public companies. I'm not a big fan of like Twitter and SpaceX being private. But Tesla isn't. Tesla is a public company.
Right.
Okay. And so we can kind of see what's going on inside Musk land, a little bit. But that transparency is really important for investors, and it's important for employees too. You want to know how your fucking company's doing. So, so you can make decisions and things not that very many people do, but whatever. So, but from a researcher standpoint, it's invaluable data because you can look at it and be like, oh, yeah, here's where we saw that, like your overheads are running way beyond what your revenues can actually sustain. And so here's where you start turning it around, and you're starting to go through an audit and saying, hey, what parts of this company actually make money? Because that's what a company's supposed to fucking do, make money. So, and if it doesn't make money, it's not a company, it's a fucking daycare. So,
but that was what the entirety of that region has been making for the past 20 years.
Right, which makes you kind of like wonder is like, wait a minute, what has Silicon Valley actually done for the last 20 years? So
it is a fascinating question.
I mean, does it just suck down money from like fucking Joe Blow investors like you and me, and then like your venture capitalist friends, and basically just burn through their money so that they can fucking wear Birkenstocks and play ping pong? Maybe.
It's funny that you're mentioning that, because this is one of the questions about Blue Sky is, all right.
I've seen some funny graphics about that.
So there's, all right. There's some very okay. So first, what are the funny graphics you picked up on here?
I just seen some fucking terrible chart fouls. So,
Yeah,
where it's like, hey, let's slice this off at the end of September. All right. And we can start looking at their growth pattern here. So, and then on the left hand side, we have your percentage. On the right hand side, we have Twitter percentage. This one's denominated in tens. This one's denominated in zeros.
Right.
It's like, you motherfuckers. I know exactly what you're doing. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
So here's some weird things about this that all right, there are people migrating to it, but they're actually not migrating that much. And certainly not in the numbers that they're trying to report it in. Because again, who's reporting on it that's saying it's like, oh, this is over? It's like, well, it's those same lamestream media guys that we were talking about before, because they were mad about it before. They're mad about it now.
Oh, no. I remember Mastodon, and then, what is
Threads.
Threads.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. And I mean, does Threads even still exist?
Threads still exists, and it has more users than Blue Sky. Here's the thing about this is Dorsey was on that board when they put it together. Dorsey quit because he said, you're making Twitter 2.0.
Blue Sky?
Yes.
He quit Blue Sky?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And the lady that's in charge of it, right? When they asked her about it, they're like, okay, so just a few questions. They're like, yeah. What do you call the features, right? Because they finally decided on a term for what an individual like tweet is.
Okay.
They call it a skeet.
Oh, ew.
Right. And she didn't know.
She didn't know about that, huh?
Right. She didn't know. When they asked her,
I did not know that.
I just shit you
Oh,
not.
that's hilarious.
When they asked her, they said, how old do you have to be to get an account?
Ooh.
She said, I don't know.
Wait a minute, it's your company.
That's correct.
Oh, okay.
And this is the thing is, there's no monetization on it, right? It's a
So
decentralized.
it's just living off venture capital.
As of right now,
Yeah.
the more people that they get, the more money they lose.
Well, yeah, I mean, because you have to pay for the server space and stuff.
That's correct.
Yeah, but
So-
where are they getting the money from?
Venture capital.
Yeah, that's what
That's
I thought.
it.
Yeah.
With no current profitization model whatsoever. So this is the thing is the only reason people are going there. All right, I'm not trying to paint this in any other thing. I'm just gonna throw it out here the way it is. Okay, is you had the people that liked old Twitter, the pre-Musk Twitter, because they got to bully the people they wanted to bully.
Yeah.
Okay, there's no two fucking ways around it.
Well, and that's why Mastodon didn't take off, because you had to be invited into the right room, and you're not going to bully a room full of other bullies.
Correct.
So yeah, no,
Correct.
this
Well,
makes perfect-
you do. Actually, that's one of the things they're doing right now is they had people come over there, and the whole thing about them is the thing that they did that is smart. This is the thing that should be ripped off from every platform is basically they have like a starter package, right? Where it's
Blue Sky does.
yeah,
Okay.
where it's like, hey, and a lot of places do this. Is like, pick a few things that you're interested
Oh,
in.
yeah,
Usually,
yeah.
okay, right?
Even YouTube does that now.
Yeah.
You log into it first time.
Exactly. And they're big on like these are all the pre-blocked accounts,
Okay.
right? Which is all right, this is where you want to go. The whole thing is after they lost control of that when Musk bought the thing out, okay? They were cool hanging around. They would constantly talk about this is a far-right hell site, blah, 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 right? They would have stuck around if their candidate won. However, what they cannot stand right now is the constant dunking. The, like...
Dude, it's so easy. Even I can do it right now.
Jesus
Come on, man.
Christ. And this is just the whole, like, they can't... Everything where it's like look, we predicted this, like this was this, and they want to be in a place where they can just instead of facing what things are, they want to be in a place where they can get back and say like 52% of all Americans are horribly racist. 52%. I mean,
yeah, but we just know that's not true.
Well, this is the thing.
Yeah.
This is, I mean, the whole point of this is classic media outlets and all these other things here, right, like you were talking about, they keep running those stories about people who, like, you're talking about, like, the crying. It's like the ones that are like, so I woke up the next day after election day and I had to think about how to tell my daughter
Right.
that 52% of Americans want her raped and that she's going to lose all of her rights.
Yeah, I know. Dude, there's a couple great compilation videos on YouTube of like people either doing that or having tantrums. Some of them in their cars, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
So,
I think some of that's performative too.
I guarantee it is,
yeah,
man. I mean,
yeah.
YouTube is monetized. So, of course it is. But then there's like other guys that are already like writing songs to it. It's fucking great, man. So, and I mean, that's the part of the internet. It's kind of like, oh, I missed that part of the internet, man, where you just laugh about things the next day. So, so you're kind of getting back to that a little bit. Not at Blue Sky, though.
No, and that's they're going to crash the system because the other thing is that leftists cannot run a place cooperatively.
No, they can't. They can't fight. They don't play nice with each other. So,
No, they hate each other.
Yeah.
They're always looking for something that you are not pure on. And I mean that's the trick of it. That's why they call it pedo sky, because the people on that
You call it pedo sky?
yeah. Look, 'cause here's the thing is, look, you do have that crowd. That's the same crowd that ran from Tumblr to Reddit to
Oh, right.
this is that same crowd, and this is the like
Came out of Discord too.
well, they're hiding in Discord. Yes.
That is home base. Yeah, that's the Bat Cave.
Yeah, these are they're hiding in cells, Patrick.
Right.
They're independent cells, and this is like
like Al Qaeda.
as far as I'm concerned, yes, this is the ugly side of the internet. But I mean, yeah, this is the place where they can kind of like hang out and have the least amount of scrutiny. And that's the thing is they're getting turned on too, because like Blue Sky like has started mass banning people because they're like, I don't know what you thought this was.
Right.
We are not a shelter for this. We can't be.
Oh, yeah.
And so there's been like some people that have turned. It's like, oh, I thought this was going to be a safe place. It's like, not for people that like to touch children, yo.
There is no safe place.
Yeah.
Man. So, yeah, it's called the dark web. So, and even there, that is decidedly unsafe for you, buddy. So,
look, that place is loaded with feds, and for good reason.
Exactly, yeah. And that's the other thing is I realized that it's much smaller than people think. You remember back in the day when they used to say that it was
smaller.
like 3 times bigger than the above ground internet?
You're talking about the iceberg,
The iceberg,
right?
yeah. Turns out that's completely backwards.
the one that's like a little bit blue up here, but then it's all dark water, and there's like giant squids at the bottom.
Right, it's got
and,
the
like,
Titanic stuck in it. Yeah.
I'm familiar with the illustration. Yeah. And it has the different levels of where
right.
Like drugs are up here, and then like Mac 10s are like here.
Yeah, and then like underage prostitution. Yeah. So no, it turns out that's completely backwards. So, but I get it, man. I mean, it's like they'll be back, or they won't, because one of the things that I think the election proved more so than anything else is there are far fewer leftists than what people thought there were. There are a lot of Democrats, but not all Democrats are leftists.
That's true. Yeah.
And so, the Democrats are those are the parts of the space shuttle that have been breaking off lately.
That's correct.
And they'll land somewhere and reform into a new Optimus Prime eventually.
No, you're correct. I mean, you're absolutely right, because you could look at the individual pieces like breaking off, because you're seeing this thing come back into orbit, and you're like, all right, so you're watching the Young Turks.
Dude, that dude has been everywhere. So that greasy thing.
Well, he's making a list of renouncements.
I know, man. He's out there doing like this apology tour right now.
He absolutely
so
is.
Him and Anna Kasparian have been all over Podcastistan.
Yes.
Oh,
yes. And you were talking about people that could not stand harder in the old days for as far left as it could go.
Or Joe Biden in particular.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're seeing those guys break up. Like Bill Maher has always kind of played a little bit of.
Bill Maher thinks he's smarter than what he is.
Bill Maher, look, his thing, and he's been doing this for a long time. All right, is he plays a smart role by just saying like, what does everybody think right now? I'm just gonna stick my toe in the other side a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna commit to it. And you know what? He's got a point. All right, there's a piece of that where you say like, well, actually, everybody should be doing a little bit of that. Where
Jon Stewart does that too.
Yeah, like Jon Stewart's another guy that made a very compelling statement the other day of like, you guys are fucking dumb.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, I did see
which
that.
was pretty funny. And that's the difference is you have people that are like trying to separate themselves from like the Joy Reids and say like,
she's beyond hope, man.
Oh
so,
yeah.
So yeah, she and Behar too, man. So
Behar has the distinct benefit of being called a comedian, but I don't think she's ever made anyone laugh. I mean,
I didn't know she was a comedian.
Theoretically, how she got that job.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people that just don't want to be affiliated with that crowd anymore. They're like, you guys are fucking idiots. I mean, this is. I hate to use this comparison, but like, you know, when the Cowboys beat the Bills in the Super Bowl, right? The next day wasn't like, well, we lost because they're racists. I mean, that's you have to look at your game and say like, look, man, we muffed that punt.
Yeah.
Eventually you have to like, yeah, maybe there's some bad calls or something like that, but eventually you have to look at your own game and say, well, this was us.
Right, yeah, you know, we probably shouldn't have called a timeout, and you know,
poor clock management.
Yeah, poor clock management.
We got crushed on right guard. Yeah. It's like we're inexperienced on. We had way too many injuries. It's this kind of stuff. You cannot go around and say like they're racist. I mean,
they're racist. Yeah, it doesn't work anymore, man. And like I think we found out that it's not fundamentally true. Like it was a story for a couple days, but then you watch the traditional media immediately cover up all the demographic data, even though we still don't have all the post-election polling done.
There are still votes being counted.
There are still votes being counted. There are a couple. I mean, but that's not unusual. So especially,
it should be.
Well, I get that, and I'm not going to argue with that, but I don't think that's. I mean, it's settled. This one is settled. It's good. So,
Oh, yeah. But, I mean, you're talking about the other, like, the downstream races. Like
the downstream races, yes. And then the other thing is definitely, like, taking a look at exit polling and having that validated now to actually see. Because it takes a little while to actually tabulate all the stuff, the official, counts and stuff like that. That's why you go till January 6th. So right. I mean that's that's on the dinner menu known as the Constitution.
There's a lot of good stuff in there that just says, oh, why do you gotta wait so long? It's like, hold on
a minute. Yeah,
just think about it.
Just think about this. So but then all the demographic data like immediately started getting scrubbed. Not like they're deleting it. They're not talking about it anymore.
Right.
Where it was like 5 days after the election, it was like, well, what happened to Hispanics, and stuff. It was like they voted in their own interest. Come on, man.
Again, they are minority non grata right now because they're like,
oh yeah,
it's like you voted against your own interest. I'm like, why don't you let them decide?
Yeah,
that?
Why don't you ask them? So and the funny thing is like I even noticed this among some of my students who are like relieved. And it was always, the young people were going to be the ones who actually show up for Joe Biden. That was decidedly false.
It absolutely is by 20-something points.
A lot.
Yes.
Yeah. A lot. And so, I mean, it's a decisive L. It's like getting a zero hung on you. So, I mean, you can't just like, the other team, I mean, they cheated. No, it's like, no, you didn't even show up. Yeah.
no. Honestly, I mean, this is the best comparison I can do. This is like when election day when that happened, right? And you're talking about people. It's like, I know what the kids like. We paid the influencers. Fucking Beyonce came up here and talked. We did all the things.
None of that worked.
And when election day came, it's like looking at somebody in the face who's like, you never studied for the test. At all.
At all.
And you got that dumb look on your face right now. And you know that there's nobody to blame but yourself.
Right, yeah.
But
races.
you didn't concede that night. You went to bed, woke up the next day and said y'all are racist.
Yeah, you kind of did.
Fucking, like, you are the worst people. I mean, your organization is dog shit from top to bottom.
Well, I mean, it's done now, man. I mean, you know.
They said they fired like 80% of the people.
I'm not surprised by all.
I don't know why you wouldn't go 100. I say, like, which of you is doing a good job?
I don't know, man. I mean, the Democrats did win. So in some places, like the great like leveling map, if you've seen it, it's fantastic. Where it shows like how every county in the union went. And so almost all of your hard red counties, like in Wyoming and in fucking Idaho, Utah, they went blue. More blue. They didn't go blue, but they moved towards blue.
Yeah.
Like, this community is fucking purple now. So, which is weird, but it is true. So, I mean, and that's because it's highly educated. If you look at it over the last 10 years, the amount of education going on and the amount of people getting like 6-digit jobs here in this town is way higher than it was 15 years ago.
We made an interesting list, Patrick. I don't know how to take this.
What?
It was the communities that were expected to see the highest increase in median home prices.
In home prices?
By 2030.
Oh,
2033.
Yes.
Yeah, we go from, I think it was like 414.
That's about average right now, yeah.
To 1.02.
Oh, I love it. I love it, man. Totally love it. Yes. So, because I own a home. So, I always wanted to be one of those California guys who bought a house in, like, you know, fucking San Francisco in 1952. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's like, what is this? It's like, well, my grandma bought this in Mulholland for $10,000.
Right.
It's...
Yeah, no. I'm happy with that. And I mean, and so like one of the big reasons why that's happening, and this is something that's extremely unpopular if you mention it, but we build like motherfucker around here. We build houses all the time. Okay, you go down to Pueblo. Pueblo had like 15 fucking houses built last year.
Really?
Really. Okay, it's like nothing. Okay, you go up like, you know, some parts in Denver, there is no other place to build. You go to other parts up there like Broomfield County and stuff like that. They don't want any more fucking people, so they don't actually build any new houses up there. You know, like Williams Old Community, Loveland, tapped out, so they're not going to build any new houses there. So, you know, I mean, where would you do it? Drive all the way up there. It's just houses from North Denver all the way to Fort Collins anymore. So, you know, with some cows, some, not as many as it used to be.
Less.
Yeah, less. So, and then here we are with this, like, basically this annexation that increased the size of the city by almost 30% out east. I don't know if you've driven out, you know, to Mark Shuffle lately. Bro, there's fucking houses everywhere. They're building 3 new fire stations out there, man. So, I mean, it's bananas. And, you know, that's why people will move here. So it's because you can get a new build house, you know, in the mid 400s, okay? And it's going to be worth double that in 5 years. Go for it. So, you know.
Oh, no, I understand. And also, I mean, Patrick, look at where we are. Remember, we
used to live on the edge of
town.
We live in the fucking middle of town. The middle of town is going to move east of us.
Dude, it's wild.
It's bananas, man.
Absolutely. The very idea that there's like a full service medical center
right there. Yeah. It's got an ER and everything.
That's downtown, basically. That's like
we used to go sledding in the field.
Oh, dude, I mean, this is not like Horny Toad Park anymore. There's no like
it's not Rattlesnake Hill.
Yeah, so Rattlesnake Hill is actually it's still there because
it is still there.
You can't put shit on it.
You can't defend it, man. Yeah. They'll come back.
They ain't gonna flatten it or anything like that. But yeah, there's
Well, not it's owned by Jehovah's Witnesses.
yeah,
Yeah.
shit, you don't fuck with them, man. They have powers. Shoot light.
Right, yeah.
No, man, like yeah, that whole area, like it just we were talking about it the other day that walk over to like Kmart in that area, right from here.
Yeah, you just go riding your dirt bike down there.
Huge walk, right? But you'd be going through fields and shit. It's like, nah, man, that's all.
Yeah. No, man, there's not even a sidewalk. Going down there. No. Mm-mm. Well, I guess you could take Homestead all the way down to Constitution.
Well,
you
now,
could. Yeah,
yeah,
could.
now you could.
Now you could.
Yeah, absolutely you could.
Yeah. But there's not a sidewalk that goes along Powers anymore.
But that was the whole reason that you'd go down there, because you're paying less taxes because it was outside the county.
Outside the city, yeah.
Or outside the city,
outside the city.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not true anymore. I think the city goes all the way out to Mark Sheffel, if I'm not mistaken. And no, it goes way further than that now. Yeah.
You know,
it doesn't go out to William Land, but it's pretty fucking close.
Well, no, I think Mark Sheffel is the end. I think you're right.
I see that they made that annexation out there, Benning Lewis Ranch. I think it actually goes that far out now. So,
and it goes that far down.
It goes pretty far down, yeah. So, in fact,
surprise me.
This last election,
because the city, right?
The city.
Okay, because I know over there that's where you see the sign that says "N El Paso County Maintenance."
Oh yeah.
So the county for sure, but I don't know.
Well, see, the funny thing is, you do find little spots. So, like, there's one of those over on Chaparral Road over here, where it's like literally 2 blocks long, where it's still county land. So, because
this could be one of those.
It might be one of those, yeah. Because we got all that weird neighborhood over here with those 2 bubble domes by the TNTs.
Right.
That's all county land in there, and it's like in the fucking middle of town now. So
it could be, yeah. Every now and then you do see like, why does this part of the state break off like this?
Right.
All right. No, I can see that.
Part of not Colorado.
Yeah, it's weird too, and you've done this, plenty of times, and as have I, man. Like when it comes to like going north, I mean, it is not what it used to be. It's just like
we're getting a Buc-ee's in Monument. I saw that the other day. Yep.
Look, I mean, that as far as I'm concerned, that little thing of like the last remnants of not being part of the national zeitgeist did with the In-N-Out burger, right?
You're right, and we were the first in the state to get one.
Yeah,
so
like, no fucking around.
Yeah, no fucking around. Now everybody's got. Well, I don't think they have one in Pueblo. They do have Whataburgers down there though now. So
correct.
Yeah.
So it's a question. Well, I mean that's up from Texas versus.
Oh right, yeah, you got to invade from the old Confederacy.
Correct. Yes. Correct. Yeah, you do have those 2 influences. It's like, which side are you going to be on, Texas or California?
The NCR.
Like, yeah. Dude, you're not wrong. There's some truth that. How far this game have you gotten? Because you've been playing it for a few weeks now, right?
No, I've been playing it kind of spotty, and so like Thanksgiving break was kind of busy. So, but I did get all the way to Vegas. I met the checkered suit man, and I blew his ass away. So, and then got chased.
Betty? Yeah.
Yes, and then I got chased out of Vegas by robots.
Okay.
So I was like, I need to start this game over.
I mean, you can live with your consequences.
I totally can live with my consequences, but I'm left with like bad choices now. So, because I pissed off, so I accidentally fucked up my first town. So the nice town where the doc fixes you up and stuff, and it's got the old man with the dynamite in it and shit. I accidentally wasted the girl who was supposed to help me. So in the beginning, because
Why?
I didn't mean to. So we went out and we were shooting like womp rats or whatever. And I winged her and she turned on me and started shooting at me. And so I had to kill her, and then I had to kill her dog because her dog started attacking me. And then I went back to the town, and everybody in the town wanted me dead. So
yeah, they don't fuck around with faction shit in that game. They
do not fuck around. And so fortunately, I met a very nice man from a prison who wanted to take over the town. I was like, you know what? Let's help you do that. So we did that. And then I went down south, and I went to a couple towns that were fucked up. But and then it was about this point in time I realized that, wait a minute, there's not a way you're supposed to play this game.
That's correct.
Yeah, it's like, So no, no, we're not going to let new taxes into Nevada. So
Yeah.
so I went
You're
out
not
to that
wrong.
little I went out to that little fort with the two guys shaking hands and went to fucking town on it. So yeah.
The boomers or
No, they kicked my ass. So they but I did eventually like serpentine through their and they're the coolest people in the entire fucking valley. So,
they have a genuine ideology.
they have a genuine ideology that I could totally get on board with. By the time I made it to them, I was really sick of everybody in Nevada. So, yeah, because I didn't mean to, but so like there was a town, not the one with the T-Rex, but a different one.
Yeah.
So where like everybody's locked up in a casino. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so I go down there and there's
the,
like
the one that's a former vault.
No. I know which one you're talking about, but that one's really far south. So this one's sooner than that.
Right.
So, no, I remember the one that's a former vault. I didn't spend that much time down there because I wanted to get to Vegas.
It's a gift shop. I mean, yeah, it's
yeah. So, no. The dinosaur was that one was cool.
Oh, that's that is that's where you find Mr. Boone, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's Novak. So,
Yes.
because no vacancy. Yeah. So, I mean, the humor in that game is just fantastic.
It's leagues better than
oh, it's way better than Fallout 4.
yeah.
Way better. Yeah. So I did play Fallout 4 for a little bit because I was like, man, I want to see how these are different. And because at first I was like trying to learn how to use VATS and I'm like, I don't fucking remember how to do this. So, and I just, I was like, all right, well, let me go check out Boston again real quick. And after playing that game for maybe like a day or two, I was like, fuck this. I remember why I stopped playing this game. So, and then I went back to Vegas and then so I tried to do your thing in the beginning where you just go to Vegas directly and get my dick ripped off. So I don't know how you did that, man. So I tried, but them things can fucking jump. There's a lot of them. It's not like Fallout 4 where you run into one every now and then. There's like 5 of them in one spot. So,
oh my god, they're
so much meaner than they are in Fallout 4.
100 times. And there's a quarry.
That's exactly where I went. It's called Quarry Junction. And there's all these signs that you walk by that say "Stop! Danger! Don't go this way." I'm like, bah. even the cowboy robot stops you and says, "Hey, partner, you don't want to go that way." I was like, "Fucking mind your own business." So he's like, "Well, don't threaten me with a good time."
Yeah. So I'll tell you where to be. It's like, come along, buddy. And yeah, you do. There was some shit where it's like, I'll come back later.
I'll come back later, yeah. So when I'm not running around with this piece of shit
later.
fucking standard issue 10mm pistol, so
it's weird because I have seen a criticism of that game where they say like it is easy to get lost and I don't mean like physically lost, but basically like the plot of it. It's easy to wander out somewhere and get so sidetracked that like know what? That's okay because ultimately it's weird. The way that the game is designed is so different from Fallout 4 in terms of like, all right, so Fallout New Vegas has like one. All right, you have a sink, right, and there's just like a little drain down at the bottom.
Yeah,
little.
Yep.
It doesn't have a whole lot of pull to it.
Mm-mm.
But here's the thing: is you will swim in there, and you're going to go through all the water, and eventually you're going to get to that little drain that will push you into whatever the next... Because the quote-unquote end game opens up as many branches as it closes off.
Right.
You've seen that. It's like, well, I killed Benny, so I have choices to make.
Yeah, I can't do anything in Vegas now. So, yeah.
Right? But that doesn't mean that the game is over.
No.
It actually means that the new opening here is like, and there's like 10 different ways to go on that. Versus like Fallout 4, where there's a big drain, and the sink is a lot
Oh, you have to hang
narrow.
on to the sides of the sink if
You
you want to
do.
like
Yeah,
hang out in the
yeah.
game for a bit.
I mean,
And
it's
kind of
fucking
like
you,
get
like-
pressure of like, whoa, you better build this machine right away. So we got to get on those Institute guys. Blah blah blah. It's like fuck that, man. I still got like 40% of the map to explore.
Pretty much.
So you know, and
yeah.
then like this game, this one's totally different because the story just kind of like gently nudges you
Every now and
and
then.
you don't even really need to do anything. It's just like, oh hey, we saw Benny. So it's like, oh, where'd he go? Which way did that fucker go? So and then eventually, I mean, he's just like there, and you're like, hey, it's the guy.
There's look, I'm not fucking around. There is something that's anticlimactic in that because you're
Totally,
like,
you meet him at casinos, like, hey, sorry about that. I'm like, well, me too.
which is funny. Yeah, it's just, and you know, it's funny. It's depending on whether you play as a man or a woman. There's funny things that you can do with that too.
Oh, I'm gonna play as a woman next time. Oh, I'm gonna do that.
Just there's so many weird and it does actually. This one does sort of reward you for fucking around with those different perks, right? The different things that you can do.
The perk system in this one is infinitely better than Fallout 4.
No
Infinitely
questions
better.
asked.
Yeah,
No questions asked.
infinitely better.
Like the builds actually turn out differently. It's not.
Oh man, you are so OP in this game. So I mean, like Fallout 4, it took you a little while to get to the point in time where it's like, oh wait a minute, let me screw this on my gun here,
Right.
and then oh wait, you know what? All this armor, it can come off now. So and then you just wander.
It just looks stupid.
It just looks stupid. Yeah, I'm gonna wear that fucking black costume, you know. So yeah, and just be basically like Batman. You know, so yeah. Or me, I ran around the general's uniform. I was like, this is my fucking territory.
It's the first time where it's like, you know, I'm not wearing a hat for statistics. I'm wearing it for style.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you get there real fast in New Vegas. So
If you want to, if that's you can load out that way if you want.
Yeah.
You can do a totally different thing where you're like, I'm a lock picker. I'm like, really? And it's a viable game strategy.
It
You're
is.
like, this is ridiculous. I wouldn't fuck around. Like there are plenty of the other games where I'm like, I don't want to mess around with the hacking. I don't want to mess. It's like I don't want to play this dumb computer game.
all right,
you know.
so I did do a lot of the hacking in this one. I did finally get it. So
Okay, that's
Yeah.
and it works. Again, it's a viable because there's stuff that's beneficial from doing that instead of like, all right, so I put a whole shit ton into hacking. It's like, okay, I got 126 bottle caps versus
right.
instead of could you have gotten those caps in other ways? Yeah, just open the door.
Or I could just shoot all these people. Yeah.
Yes, right.
So yeah, no, I'm sorry. In this one, I thought I had a strategy because I remember the last game how stealth was like really OP. You know.
Yeah,
and-
you went that route. I'm like, that's disgusting.
No, not this time. So this time I was like, no, front door is always going to work, and so I need to be the most badass gunslinging motherfucker that I can build, and that was really overpowered once I found one gun.
Which one is that?
I don't remember what it's called. I found it in a vault because I lockpicked it, or in a safe, and it's this big old long 45 or 357 Magnum. So that
Oh my.
yeah, that actually like boosts all this shit in VATS, and so I just turned it into a VATS gunslinger.
Oh.
Yeah, and VATS
Oh.
is way overpowered in that game.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
Because at first, when I winged that nice girl who was going to help me, I was just like, like free, like just using the crosshair to shoot.
Yeah.
And so I clipped her. Because it did take me a little while to get used to the controls. It is a little choppy as a shooter.
It is. That's what I argue that the shooting is better in Fallout 4.
I would agree.
And I would also argue that look, if you're somebody like me where I get the point of what you're trying to do, but weapon degradation is something that I don't
annoying.
need it.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I get what you're trying to prevent. I get what you're so weapon degradation I understand in terms of you are encouraging me to play with other things
Right.
instead of just take this gun and soup it up, right?
Yeah.
Got it.
There's
Got
not
it.
as many weapon specializations as there are in Fallout 4. So, yeah.
But I mean that I understand the purpose of you making me do that. But I'm also grown. If I want
Right.
to play with other guns, I will.
I will.
And I do
Yeah.
that on my own. I don't need you to like. Again, it's easy enough where it's just like, okay, well, Fortunately, you find enough of these, and you just hit the like combine button.
Transmogrify it to new gun.
I don't remember the
It's
term,
repair.
but yeah, it's
repair.
and you just like, what did I do? It's like, well, technically, you just parked exactly, yeah. And so I'm like, okay, I get this, but I don't like it. I don't need it.
No, I didn't like it either. But there's one perk in there that allows you to use any gun to repair another gun. Once I found that perk, I was like, you know what? All right, so this isn't that much of. It did take a little while to unlock that one. But that's the thing about the game; it's fast. So I mean, it's like if you follow just like the main story, you can get to Vegas in probably like an hour. So you know, unless I mean, if I can figure out how to get through rip your dick off junction, you know. So
you take the long way around.
You have to take the long way around.
I mean, that's what I had to do.
I had to do.
I mean, it's not like I didn't say like, I'm going to come back for you, because I did.
I never did go back. So yeah, no. I did the thing, and I got into gunfights in Vegas. I got chased out of Vegas by their fucking police robots. So, and then everybody and their dog would open up on me as soon as they saw me, because I was like, whatever it is, vilified.
Yep.
Yeah. And so then I had a decision to make. I was like, well, I already pissed off the NCR by going after their outpost, you know, up there. And, you know, well, there was a town where everybody was locked into it, and the NCR guys weren't doing anything, so I shot them. I thought that was going to work. So I thought they were locked up because those dudes were out there. So... and it turns out that was not it. So when I went up to the top of the hill where those two guys are shaking hands, I got shot. I was like, well, this won't stand. So let me go up there and kill everybody in this fucking, you know, little town up here. So, and I did. And so now I'm vilified by the NCR as well, which leaves me with one choice. So and I pissed them off too. So
are you?
Yeah.
Well,
so I need to start over.
If you killed Benny, I mean, are you still cool with Mr. House?
No, I can't get into Vegas. So I don't know what I fucked up, man. I probably shot someone that I wasn't supposed to. So I have no idea. It didn't occur to me that like the people that I was shooting weren't just like rando NPCs.
It is.
Until about maybe 2 or 3 hours in the game, where like you're supposed to save this one dude, and I popped him, and it was like mission over. And I was like, oh fuck,
I can do that.
I can do that. So
right,
you know?
Right, yeah. It is. There were remnants of a little bit of the old school like role playing games in there.
Definitely,
a little bit.
Definitely.
So much to the point where, again, like, I don't think it's all that hand holding. I don't think it is.
There's no hand holding.
I don't think it's complete like free for all. I think there's enough yellow ladders to kind of point you in the directions that you need to go. And I don't think the thing about Fallout New Vegas is like if you do stuff for long enough, it will eventually remind you like, aren't you supposed to be somewhere? Versus the phony Fallout 4 ticking clock element where it's like even though it's not, they're just gonna. This is very important. This is going. It's like
the only
don't tell me it's important. It's not.
The only time that happened, I was fucking around in the Air Force Base after I got in there and started talking to those nice people with all the bombs.
Yeah.
So that one of them was like, "Yeah, don't you?" It was something like that. You know, it was like, well, you can stick around and help us out with this, but I think you got places to be. And I was like, oh, like fuck, you're right.
Slightest nudge.
So, yeah. And so I went up there and did that. There's like parts of the map. So the map is small. So,
but it's way more memorable. I mean, in terms of
way more.
Well, okay. So the map itself. All right, forgive me. Let me say this. There's the dinosaur.
The dinosaur is great, man. That's where you meet the sniper dude.
There's the dinosaur, but then and Vegas, but everything else is just like shades of brown.
Oh, it's gross. Yeah.
All the people are the ones that you want to like mess around with because like I can name like certain dudes. I'm guarantee you that you came across weird Jason that's all glowy and
Can you get him to be a companion?
No.
Oh, okay.
Did you?
I tried.
Did you help them on their voyage or no?
No, I didn't. Yeah.
Okay, well, you can sabotage the ship. You can, I mean,
Oh, really?
there's a lot of ways to go about that. Again, this is the thing that it has that weird dude in there that's not actually a ghoul, but he talks like
He
one.
talks like one.
It's like, okay, yeah, you remember these characters. You remember Mr. House. You
I do remember Mr. House, but I just saw him on the TV. Is there another place where you see him? So, okay.
yes, but you.
Okay. I didn't. I
mean, that's the thing.
Yeah.
That's the funny thing is you're in a spot where you can have a totally different game plan because you can't see the guy. Now, granted, you're like, all right, I'm gonna have to reload a little bit.
I only played it for maybe like 8 hours, so it's kind of like, okay, well, that was fun. Let me try this. I'll try it as a woman this time. That'll be a lot of fun.
You can do that. I mean, you remember, like, I mean, that's the thing is there's like all sorts of weird stuff going on in the White Glove Society and
Well, and I was helping those prison guys. I think this time I'll kill them.
right,
Yeah.
right. I feel like this is it's sort of our answer to the Starfield problem is make it a little bit smaller, make the actual encounters more meaningful. Because that's the thing. It's like, it's map is smaller, but it feels bigger because
There's a lot
you're
more
actually
stuff going on.
like doing
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, and it's not the same shit that you were doing in Fallout 4. So I was glad there was no settlement system or there was no, like, you don't need to, like, fill your pockets with all the junk. So,
No, because you're not going to use that for building stuff.
you're not going to use it for anything. So, I mean, you figure out real quick what's actually handy and useful and what's junk, what's useless. So,
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I mean, it is still janky. Don't get me wrong.
It's very janky.
It's janky. Even with all the updates, it still crashes and shit.
it does.
And Lord knows that I played it on fucking console like forever ago.
Oh, okay.
So it was especially crashy there, and played at a lower frame rate. But
Oh, it runs it runs smooth as silk, but it does crash from time to time.
does?
It's just absolute, just boots you out. And you're
It
like,
is.
motherfuck.
coated like shit.
Is it? Oh,
Absolutely, yeah, because it was Obsidian working with Bethesda's engine, right? And that engine sucks. It's needed to be overhauled for a long time.
yeah.
They used to call it Gamebryo. They call it something else now, but it's ass. It's total ass. It's the same thing that they're using in Starfield, and that's why everybody looks like polyurethane foam rubber.
So yeah, you do notice that like, so after playing Fallout 4 and Starfield, and then going back to New Vegas, it's like, oh, this is from that. Okay, got it.
You
Yeah.
look at these like the proto faces. Yes, they do look like real ugly dolls. But I mean, you're at the same point. You're like, but you're not that different in the future either.
No.
It's just that they found a new version of rubber to strap over you.
Yep.
It's
Different shaders. Yep. So yeah, you notice that right off the bat. I mean, like, there's a lot of other things that, I don't know, certain things that, like, yeah, the gunplay is a little janky in that one. In Fallout 4, it was fine. Starfield, it was great. So I didn't have any problem with the gunplay.
there was just no variety to it. It was just
Well, I mean, yeah, there was like one set of guns. You didn't want to play with the other two because they sucked. So, it's like Starfield has a lot of problems.
we've
We've gone over in detail. I mean, I still like the game.
I do.
Yeah.
I wish I got a different version of it. I wish that there was a.
There's just a few things that if they change to it, it'd make it a much better game. Who knows, man? So I did see something from them a little while ago. They released a new like DLC for it or something.
They did, but I'm in no rush to play it.
I'm in no rush. I'm definitely not paying the price that they're asking for it. I'll wait, 6 months, then maybe I'll try it again and see what else that they've decided to update in that game.
Yeah,
But,
when the DLC comes with like 6 free months of like Netflix or something.
oh, fuck yeah. ESPN Plus.
That's pretty funny, actually.
But we'll see, man. I mean, we still have we Rockstar will drop their next game next year. So I do have my sister-in-law's been playing Baldur's Gate, not Baldur's Gate. What's the new one?
Is she playing Dragon Age?
Dragon Age, yes.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So She says it's fun, so, but man, do they drag you by your eyelids through a few things in that game. So
That is like the most heavy-handed game I've seen in
I have
my
heard this.
life.
Yeah, I have
That
heard
thing
this.
will not be getting purchased by me.
Okay, yeah, I don't think I will purchase it either because, quite honestly, man, it's time to learn how to start making them. So I've got a little course lined up for.
Do you really?
I do.
Oh, cool.
So I think I can actually learn how to use one of the engines. So, I've got some courses. Well, it's one big course and then a couple little follow-up courses behind it. You know, kind of like Coursera. So, like, start to learn how to do some of that shit. I used to actually program a little bit. So, way back in my when I was doing my first master's degree. So, and then like everything that I do in statistics is basically in Python. So, yeah.
Oh.
But it's not hard, man. I mean, you just have to know what to tell it. So, it's pretty easy. But I don't do anything advanced with it. I just have it do math, so I've never thought about trying to learn how to program a game in it. And so I figured, well, fuck it. There's like 3 different engines out there. I'll just learn one of them. So, and poke around with it and see what I can do. So,
Keep me informed.
yeah,
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So, yeah, we talked about different types of games over the years. I'm going to pick an easy one and just see if I can do it. So,
Hey, dude, there are guys out there that there are dudes out there like Bennett Foddy that have been making like little things for years, very influential. They could easily take a step into the next thing, but I mean, it's when you start with too many ninjas and then you go into QWOP, then you go into
you're right, yeah.
and then you go into getting over it, and like, look, man, this dude he understands games. He's been doing stuff like this, and it all starts with that, and eventually you're a guy with a hammer and a pot, and you're it's like I get it, and it starts with and it doesn't matter how old you are. I mean,
No, and that's what I was thinking, about it too. It was like, all right, so I could go back and I could backslide into some of my older hobbies, or I could start picking up a new one here. And I was thinking, it was like, well, I'm gonna have more free time in the future anyway, so I can find some room for some of that, and just go learn something new for a change, because it's been a while, bro, since I sat down. I was like, I need to learn something new. So,
Patrick, that's why I've been working on a language for the past 2 years.
right, I tried that for a little bit, but it wasn't
connecting, I mean, that's cool
for me. So.
But that was specifically my approach on it. It was like, oh man, I'm getting to that point where like music topped out in 1999. I'm getting really grumbly about movies.
I see, and I've been there for 5 years, man. And there's like this thing that's been missing. I've been dealing with a bunch of other shit over the last 5 years, but now that like all my schoolwork is done and stuff, and I've had a good year to kind of like just recover. So it's it's kind of like, well, fuck, what do I want to do? Do I want to go back to doing trains and stuff, or it's like, nah, not just yet. So it was like,
that's exactly it. Yeah,
it's not just yet. I can let me pick up something else. So,
hey, dude, that was the reason why for a while that I'm pretty sure, because I was like talking to my doctor about this. I'm like, I'm not finding joy in old things. It's like, I used to love video games. I don't want to get started on a lot of them. And yeah, I think that was part of it. It was this crossroads of like doing the same things that you did before, and then wanting to delve into something and take it seriously. I mean, that's the thing is you and I, we have closets full of like, this is when I started fabric sculpture. This is when I started. I mean, because
my sourdough starter.
Dude, I mean, yeah, we got tons of stuff where it's like, this seemed like it would be cool to do. It was cool for about 3 weeks. But that was part of it. It was like something that I want to take seriously and actually like see through. And I think that's kind of where you're feeling on this. Is like
I don't know about the see-through part. I just want to see how far I can go. So before I get to the point in time where it's either like, oh, okay, I'm getting really good at this, or it's like, this is tedious and makes my head hurt. We'll figure it out. So
it can be both.
It might be both. So but I mean, like
it likely will be both.
It's possible.
Hey, dude, there are things that you enjoy because of the headache that comes with it sometimes.
Yeah. I've kind of gotten rid of most of that.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, you weren't selecting like super simple like plastic models for a reason.
No, that's because I can do these. So,
right.
And especially now that I know how to do, see, and that's the other thing is YouTube is such a hack. So, for fucking everything.
Yeah, it's true.
That like, I mean, I was basically in the last 3 years able to teach myself how to cook really nice meals. So, I mean, like, really nice. Like,
yeah.
And then the same thing's true about, like, the couple models that I have done that I've given to other people were phenomenal. Way better than anything that I had done before them because it was like, oh, that's how you do that. And that was a 5-minute YouTube video. I was like, that's fucking easy. I can do that, And I was like, oh, that looks really good, kind of thing. But none of that compelled me to go out there and try it again and again and again and learn that shit on my own.
Right.
Right. So you can go a lot faster on getting proficient at something than you used to be able to because you can find exactly what it is that you're looking for. So usually pretty close. So.
Well, absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's what it has done it has taken a lot of the mystique out of things that once felt so, like guarded, where you're like, oh, so that's how you cook that.
Right.
There's this thing where like back in the day, it all felt like alchemy, where you're just kind of like, if I just add the right combination of spices, I will, I will make gold here. Right? It's like no, it's like asshole. It's like so. Here's how this works: heat plus this. Right. This reduces the moisture.
Yeah. This
if you want it, if you want it to taste like that, will make it taste more salty. That's why. That's it. It's like. Oh, this used to be guarded shit.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. This used to be walled off. This is why, again, it's the same thing where this was like, there's no mystique to actors or actresses anymore. Mm-hmm. It's all that stuff is just out in the open. Wow, dude, now that I've seen how the sausage is made, you're just a regular dickhead. You're just a cook. You're all cooks at about the same quality. It's just you have different personalities.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's why people on TikTok are eating your fucking lunch.
Right.
Oh,
yeah, no. I mean, any kind of shorts out there for cooking is phenomenal. Yeah. So, but I mean, like, but the thing is that when you do pull some of the mystique out of something like that, you appreciate it when you see somebody else do it really well.
Yes.
So, which is nice. And so when I see someone who makes a really good model, it's like, okay, that took a lot of work, all right?
Yes,
and that looked phenomenal, and so you appreciate it a little bit more. But at the same point in time, you don't feel intimidated by seeing that stuff. You feel more like, that's cool. It's not like, oh, God, I'll never be able to do that.
Look, there are some things that I look at, and I'm very certain I won't be able to do. If I watch somebody do, these videos come across sometimes, like, this guy is solving 3 Rubik's Cubes while juggling them.
Right, yeah. I'll never be able to do that.
I'll never do that.
Nope.
Right? I can appreciate
it. In the NBA either.
Nope. Totally understand. And you have been practicing that for a long time. I'm always a sucker to sit there and watch, like, God damn, these dudes with the yo-yos are awesome.
They are awesome.
I'll never do that.
Can't do it.
But a lot of the things where you look at, especially when you look at dudes like with models, and you see like you're watching them like paint eyelids, and
yeah,
I know you know what I'm talking about. With a single hair brush, you're like, okay, I could do this.
I could do this, but I don't want to. I'll let you do it.
I'd much rather appreciate watching you.
Exactly.
Very, very good.
Yeah.
And again, that appreciation of like, God damn, that's really cool how you did this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is just a different age that we live in, man. It's
totally, man. Yeah, it's going to be exciting next couple of years, man. So you're starting to see the Hollywood dam break. Gaming is right behind it, man. So AI is absolutely gonna fucking wreck both of those industries.
Yeah, man.
It's totally gonna wreck it, man.
It's how Musk made himself public enemy number 1 with that crowd, is like creating an AI gaming.
I saw that, yeah. I saw that. You know, like I'm curious, like exactly how many things he gets involved in before he starts look. Because you think like he's got a couple other companies out there you never hear about. So you know,
Well, like the Boring
the
Company. I
Boring
feel like-
Company, and then the other one with the AI chip or the Neuralink. So
Oh, I hear about that one all the time.
yeah, you have to be kind of plugged into that one to know about it, though, man. So you know,
Neuroscience is sort of
I know it's one of your things.
it's
So
yeah.
I know it's one of your things, but so like just general audience, you don't hear about that. So you have to go out there and find. What are you like? Every third article is going to be something about SpaceX or Tesla, you know. So especially in business lit. So you know,
You know why?
why?
You know how much? Do you know what the percentage of shit that made it to space last year was done by SpaceX?
Oh, like 80%.
86%.
Yeah. I'm not surprised by that. I mean, but for years, NASA was big. Well, there were the three guys who kept trying to get there, and Elon Musk just got there first. So, you know, because it was him, Bezos, and Richard Branson who were all trying to build, like, how do we actually get up to space? And so Musk actually had the better, the reusable rocket idea is better than the space planes that they two tried. Okay, fine, good call. All right, so not saying that they, you know, couldn't try and you know like didn't pour a lot of money and effort into it. It's just okay, those two ideas didn't work out. Cool,
Happens, man.
it happens. So yeah, so you know, but still at the same point in time, I mean, there's like, you know, I'm curious to see exactly how long he can keep SpaceX private. I don't think he's going to be able to do it for very much longer. So we'll have to see. So
I don't. Are you saying like forced to incorporate? What do
I
you
don't
mean?
know. Well, it's already a corporation. It's
But I
just
mean,
not
yeah,
publicly. Yeah. So, but I don't know. Eventually, like you know, you're gonna have investors because this company's getting old enough now. Or you're gonna have people who have money, you know, in that who want to roll their money out of it because that happens to all investors. Everybody who's an investor eventually gets to the point in time where he's like, no, I need the cash, so I'm done investing. You know.
Right.
And so
Eventually, you sell that comic book.
what?
Eventually,
You sell that comic book, yeah. So
Somebody
you
else
know
needs
you
it more
cling it
than I do.
onto it until you know it's mine. You know?
Why do you want it back? Well, I'm dying. You see.
Yeah, so I'm curious to see exactly how long he can keep that private. So we'll see. Maybe it might be another 20 years. Who knows? So it will not be in debt. It will not outlive him. Let me put it that way. So
Well, all I can say is that shit would have been in way worse trouble if Trump didn't win this election.
oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so you're exposed to a lot of risk there. If it was a public corporation that had, you know, really like high dollar valuable public investors or like CalPERS in it and stuff like that,
Yeah.
that makes it much safer.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But anyway, all right.
All right. Anyway, I'm Pat.
I'm Jeffrey.
Hitting the button.
Okay.